together. Larry Sharpe has traveled the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. So glad that you're giving me a chunk of your afternoon. Please, if you want to, you can give me a buzz. Talk to me after the first break. 585-346-3000. You know, I was going to talk about this last week. It was a bit more topical, but I had a bit of a power outage here, sadly. New York City, where I live, they were tearing up the road and things fell apart. But it made me think about something. Years ago, back in the 90s, I used to work, believe it or not, for the old police chief commissioner, Bill Bratton. And I worked at a company where we did background investigations and checked out people's backgrounds. And a story that was going around back then, which is based on something true, was this is the 90s, height of the war on drugs, and many cops in many cities were doing mass arrests. Just who's on the corner, arrest the whole corner. They're all going in jail. We'll figure it out later. Well, there was a situation where a gentleman, and I think he was trying to get a job at some place like Merrill Lynch or some bank like that. It may not have been Merrill Lynch, but it was some financial institution. And they did a background check. And they found that he had been arrested. And they decided to not hire him. And he said, wait, it's not fair. And this guy was black, and they come from a black neighborhood that was under the pressure of the war on drugs. And he was arrested in a mass arrest, right? They arrested everybody. He happened to literally be a guy who was going to the corner store to get like milk and eggs. And the cops arrested everybody in a mass arrest. He was not charged. He was not convicted. He was let go because he was just wrapped up in this. But the financial institution used his arrest record as a reason to not hire him. And he said, it's not fair. And he went to court. And he won. As he should have. The kid got arrested. That sucks. Doesn't mean you're guilty. Doesn't mean you did anything. Particularly after the crime bill signed by the awesome Bill Clinton, written by our current Joe Biden, was destroying black neighborhoods. When that was happening, he was stuck in that. And it was unfair. And many states decided to make changes because of that. And I think when they made those changes, they actually were thinking, this is going to be helpful. They added things like if you are hiring someone, you can't use their credit check as a reason to not hire them. And you might go, wait a minute, Larry, isn't this the free market? It is, 100%. And the credit agencies are basically monopolies who dominate our lives. So I'm okay if they say that. Look, and this is still true. If you are going to be handling money, you're going to be a chief financial officer, an accountant, you're going to be the controller, accounts payable. Your credit score probably matters. I get it. However, if you're driving a truck, you're being a sales rep, right? You're in the mailroom, you're in the warehouse. You got to pay bills. And if your credit sucks, you got to fix your credit. So why in the world would I use that against you and not hiring you unless you're handling money and now I'm worried? Okay, I got that. But they went one step further. And that is the idea of the company now is assumed guilty. Now, again, I think Their logic was to make things fair. I do think that was a logic. I believe their intent was good. It was, hey, we're just going to say we didn't use this arrest record, but use it and you can't prove it. And the government said, no. You got to show us when you said no that you used something else, not the arrest record. Again, you might go, Larry, that's unfair. I get it. I do. At the same time, I'm giving credit where credit is due. I think this was intended to be fair. However, in the long run, it has not been that at all. What I think was an attempt to be fair and just and to help people, and I think the intent was a positive intent. I think now we're at a spot that it's kind of backfired on us. And then more recent example, that was the 90s. Those of you who know my real job, when I'm doing regular stuff, I'm a trainer, corporate consultant, executive trainer, executive coach, all those things. And I remember I was doing training for New York City agencies. One of the things I was teaching them is dealing with people who are in the wrong job. And they're like, well, why would you talk about that? I said, because you're a city agency and the government goes out of their way to find a reason to hire, not to find a reason not to hire. They're always trying to hire. They have many quotas to fill, diversity issues to fill. They're trying to find any reason to hire somebody. If they don't fit, who cares? You might go, wait a minute, is that good or is that bad? Well, I guess in theory, if your goal is to be representative in your government, I guess it's good, I guess. But in every other way, it's bad. Why is it bad? Larry, someone's getting a job. Here's the reason why. When it comes to bad employees, most employees actually aren't bad. There are some who are bad employees. You will find bad people, and of course, they exist. But the vast majority of bad employees are not actually bad employees. They're just in the wrong job. Well, wait a minute, Larry, why'd they get the wrong job? Because most people just want to pay bills and they go to find the job they can get so they can pay their bills. I get it. It makes sense. Got to pay bills. Big fan of paying bills. So this organization is hiring. You want to pay bills. You apply for a job. And if this was not the government, the private company, I'm saying to myself, does this person fit for the right job so they can be happy and so I can be happy? So they can be productive and I can be productive, right? That's what I want. But if I'm government, I say they applied. I do not want to be seen as in any way discriminatory. I'm going to find a reason to hire them. I'm not joking. That is standard procedure in almost every government agency in the country, but heavily in New York City. If you apply, they go out of their way to hire you. What's the problem with that? Well, now you're in a job that you shouldn't be in. You're going to be unhappy. You're not going to be productive. Neither is government. But the advantage of government, it doesn't matter. You can be unproductive. We'll just hire more people. It does not matter. So that's the glory of government, I guess. But that is. So that happens. So now these managers have to deal with people who are in the wrong position. Saying, Larry, where are you going down this road? Who cares about all this stuff? The private sector does. Small business does. Because if you're a large government agency and you make a bad hire or two, who cares? Means nothing. So they're incompetent, so they don't work, so they're unhappy. So what? They'll stay here for 20 years anyway, get a pension. They'll just complain the whole time. You'll hire more people, whatever. Nobody cares. That's government. But what happens when it's your small business and you hire the wrong person and they're not happy and they're not productive? Do you keep them on? You can't afford to. Do you fire them and take a lawsuit? You can't afford to. You're screwed. It is horrible when you are a small business and you make a wrong hire. What if you make 2 or 3 wrong hires? What if you're afraid? What if you stop hiring? And you were seeing that happen already across New York State. 2 things you see happening across New York State and other states too, is there is virtually no growth, economic growth, except with government intervention or government direct investment. When there's government direct investment, hire them all. Who cares? Government. We'll just make more money. We'll ask Uncle Joe to write us bigger checks. Done. And that's happened constantly. The other private businesses who do not have government guarantees or government influx are struggling to hire. Because if they make a bad hire, they're finished. So we're making it harder to hire. Make it harder. We're not done yet. You might say, well, Larry, is it that bad? So what when it comes to arrest records and such? I think you're right. I don't think the arrest record, I don't think the credit score thing is that big of a deal at all. I don't. But we're past that. Larry, talking about racism? Yes, but more. We've gone further than credit, further than arrest record, further than race. Yeah, we have. We've gone to looks. I'm going to cover that right afterwards. Guys, if you want to reach out to me, 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, WYSL Rochester, New York, Sharpe Radio, back with your calls and the chat after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
To live the quality of life we deserve in truth and freedom, informed by our Constitution, our laws, and traditions, we need to pick the best leaders possible. Recent experience certainly illustrates that. Free and accurate elections are essential if we're going to restore our society and safeguard our rights. New York Citizens Audit is a volunteer, nonpartisan group which has been lobbying for open source audits of the State Board of Elections and reform of the electoral process statewide. Did you know Citizens Audit has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law? That in 2020, there were 625,000 more voter registrations than existing voting age citizens in just 6 New York counties, that there were 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted. These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help. Visit auditny.com and learn the facts, how to volunteer, and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes. It is Larry Sharpe, WYSL Rochester, New York, Sharpe Way Radio, 585-346-3000. For the break, I was talking about not hiring people based upon arrest records, credit records, race. I get all those things. And the world's not ending for any of those. Not ending. But I am worried now. Because now in New York City, we have now decided that you cannot discriminate based upon height and weight. Height and weight. So how somebody looks. Yes. Before that, years before that, about 5 years ago, you couldn't discriminate somebody based upon hairstyle. I'm not joking. Now you might go, well, Larry, that's kind of bad, right? I mean, you don't want to discriminate because someone's hair. But again, we now go back to the earlier part, which I think was absolutely done again with great intention. Now, the business has proved they didn't fire you or not hire you because of your hairstyle, because of your height, or because of your weight. So if I happen to be someone who's very heavy and you don't hire me You now have to prove that you didn't hire me based upon something other than my weight. What if I'm too short? I'm not joking. This is a law in New York. So I'm short. And I go, well, you didn't hire me. It's because I'm short. Prove it was something else. Yes. We are making it harder and harder to hire. More and more small businesses are scared to hire anybody. All of a sudden now, I can say, well, what if I just put dreadlocks in my hair? You don't hire me because I had dreadlocks. Prove it was something else. Now, here's the worst part. You get enough lawsuits, you're just going to start settling. If you start settling, everybody wants a lawsuit. I want my payday. Don't you want your payday? I'm going to put on some weight so I can get paid. We can put some dreadlocks in my head so I can go get paid. I mean, is that what we're working on? Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm exaggerating. But I am worried that we are creating more and more protected classes who will use the law to punish business. Michael, but Larry, what about government? Government doesn't care. They get sued all the time. They pay out all the time. It's part of your tax base is to pay out people. It's already there. But what happens when I'm a small company trying to grow in a city like this, trying to find employees to grow? Well, now I'm in trouble. I've already told people when I consult with small businesses, I used to say, never hire one person unless you can hire two. I've now changed that. Never hire one unless you can afford three, because you're going to have to pay for the screwed up one plus buy another one. So you got to be able to afford three. Think about that. To hire one, you have to be able to afford three. How much work do you have to do, or what profit margin do you have to make as a small business to do that? Wow. And you wonder why these businesses aren't growing, or the ones that are only those that are backed by huge hedge funds or huge financial institutions whose goal is just to buy them out anyway. That's the future. That's what's happening. So who's winning? Big business, the system, and lawyers. And of course, courts. Courts always win, right? Judges and lawyers always win. So this is an issue that I'm dealing with. This is what I'm worried about, because we're not done. Then, I mean, think about this. Height and weight. What if I run a Hooters? Don't I want the hot, thin girl at Hooters? Is that the reason why you go to Hooters? Not anymore. Whoever we say. She walked in. She's not hot. She doesn't fit the thing. Got to hire her. If you don't, lawsuit. Prove she wasn't hot enough, or whatever is the rule. Wow. Is there an issue, though, with even ambiance? And it's a serious question. Now, if I run a Chinese restaurant, I'm going to have to find another way to make sure I have the right people in my Chinese restaurant. I don't have to make up stuff. I have to lie. I have to put in there, must speak Mandarin or something like that. Because then when someone who's not Asian steps up to be hired and they say, well, you didn't hire me because I'm not Asian, which is against New York City law now, give me money. I go, no. You have to speak Mandarin. See, that's why I now have proof that I didn't hire you for that reason. Wow. What about grooming standards? Do those go away? They do. You don't get to have grooming standards in your business anymore because they go away. Grooming policies go away. But here's the next thing. It also moves into housing and public accommodations. So now, do I want to rent out my basement? I probably don't. I'm scared now because I didn't let somebody come in because I didn't like whatever reason for them to be in my house. Oh, no, it's because their hairstyle or because they're too short or too tall or too fat or too skinny, whatever. Prove it. Prove why you didn't let that person rent your apartment. Now, they will do, except and they have accepted this. Bad credit, they do worry about that issue. Okay. Race, I get that too. Hairstyle or height? What if they're on the 5th floor and I think the person who weighs 400 pounds is going to have trouble going up the stairs? I'm scared of that. And they might fall and sue me. Too bad, New York City. Get sued. Have insurance. Doesn't matter. You don't have a chance. Do what we say. You are guilty until proven innocent. And again, while bigger companies can absorb this, while government can absorb this, who cares? And every time they make these laws, the average person goes, who cares? These companies can't afford it. Well, yeah. If you're Google, fine. What if you're Joe's Pizzeria? You're finished. That's the end. Am I crazy here, guys? We're making it harder and harder. And they might go, wait a minute, Larry. It doesn't matter as much because we have a gig economy. One of the reasons we have a huge gig economy is nobody wants employees because employees are a liability. That's why we have such a big gig economy. Employees are a liability. I get it. And New York State and California are like, wait a minute. These guys don't have employees anymore. We don't have control anymore. And New York State decided, we're going to change the definition of employee. I'm not joking. California started. You got us first this time, California. New York right behind them. Changing the definition of employee. Employee, which now can be set retroactively, is whatever the state says it is. The state says you're now an employee. Okay, company, pay the price. Retroactively. Again, I'm a big business. I've got lawyers on payroll. I'll deal with it. I'm a small business. I'm finished. You may go, wait a minute, Larry. Then how do these companies survive? Let me ask you a question. If you live in a city, like me, New York City, some other city, have you ever noticed some of these storefronts, some of these companies change names every 5 minutes? Have you ever noticed some of these construction companies change names, have DBAs, doing business as is, change every 5 minutes? Do you know why? They're all family members declaring bankruptcy. I'm not joking. It's absolutely true. Declaring bankruptcy. And then trying to just reboot, same stuff, keep going, because they get sued by somebody or sued by somebody else. They have bankruptcy, move on. It becomes a thing. There are people I know who've gone bankrupt individually 3 times. You can go bankrupt every 10 years. I know that because they tell me they've gone bankrupt. They go bankrupt every 10 years. And in their family, same thing. So they're all going bankrupt back and forth. And they all live great lives. So they deal with the lawsuits, just going bankrupt. I'm not joking. If you're in this world, you know what I'm talking about. Or they swap ownership of companies left and right, here, back and forth. They scam the system because they can't survive within it. So they scam it. This is where we are. New York State's in trouble. Instead of making things better, we just make things harder. You want to make something work? Give people more freedom. Give people more choices. Give people more options, and we have a shot at moving forward. Absolutely. Grab a couple comments if I could. Hal says, I was probably hired because only my looks. Yes, that's the case. Hal, I know you. You are a good-looking man, so it is possible. All I'm going to say is, well done. I hope you get paid a lot of money, brother. I hope so. So, yes. All righty. Oh, Michael Voss is watching. How are you? He says, we are in a state dedicated to accusation equals guilt. Mike, I would go further than this. The entire nation is there. The whole nation is there. We're all getting to, oh, he was accused. If you remember, was it Nancy Pelosi? I think it was, who said, well, he'll have his time in court to prove his innocence. Talk about Trump. That's not how that works. You know what? Maybe I'm the crazy one. Mike, maybe that is how it works. Not supposed to work that way. Let me know what you think. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Way Radio. WYSL, Rochester, New York. Back with your calls. And I see you chat. I'll get to you after the break.
For truth and freedom.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the News 10 NBC forecast on WYSL. For tonight, the winds will begin to die down, but we will remain breezy and gusty with gusts around 30 miles an hour. An isolated rain or snow showers possible, otherwise partly to mostly cloudy, low of 28. Heading into Wednesday, we're going to be colder, high of 36 with occasional snow showers in the afternoon. Upwards to an inch of snow is possible. Watch out for some slick conditions during the evening commute. Staying on the breezy side, and that continues into Wednesday night, low of 26 with mostly cloudy skies. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Alex Wheelfeld on your WYSL stations.
Your go-to for standard of specialized business insurance coverage. MGM Associates of Rochester, now serving the region and beyond in New York. Since 1984, MGM has provided leading coverage from a wide range of carriers. Not only home, condo, boat, motorcycle, and auto, but also specialized policies for all types of businesses, including nonprofits and law firms, livery insurance, property insurance, and bonds for all needs. MGM Associates of Rochester provides auto, workers' comp, healthcare, and liability coverage. Choose from virtual appointments or good old in-office in-person consults by appointment at our Penfield office. 5-time consecutive winner of the National Best Practices Award. MGM is proud to support veterans groups. For your personal, business, home, or professional insurance needs, meet the experienced staff at MGM Associates. Locally and proudly owned at 1745 Penfield Road in Penfield, 381-7008 or mgminsure.com. An associate of Michigan Millers Mutual Insurance, 2425 East Grand River Avenue, Lansing, Michigan.
It's no secret, every business wants employees who are committed to doing a great job. I'm Steve Tasker, and I'd like to tell you about an easy way to reach a largely untapped pool of skilled job seekers. It's called the Employment Alliance, and it's part of Heritage Christian Services. Together, they bring new talent to businesses by matching people who have disabilities with employment opportunities. The Employment Alliance works with businesses to find talent and offer on-site job coaching. They'll also work with your business to develop individualized training plans, support diversity initiatives, and enhance your community connection and customer base. More than 100 area businesses have already benefited from working with the Employment Alliance. Even better, they're giving people with disabilities the opportunity to do meaningful work and demonstrating that they value equal opportunity and diversity. The Employment Alliance is a proud part of Heritage Christian Services. To learn more, visit hcsemploymentalliance.org.
Attention drivers. Are you frustrated with your current employer? Apply at C-Rec Disposal. Want great working conditions, top pay, and benefits with a great local company? Apply at C-Rec Disposal. C-Rec Disposal has openings for front, side, or rear load drivers at Rochester's fastest growing disposal service. C-Rec Disposal is family owned and takes pride in their staff of professionals. You can be one of them. Join a quality team. Drivers, call or send your resume. Grow with C-Rec. Call 585-720-0978. 585-720-0978. SEYREK
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
At AirQuip, it's all about your comfort. Comfort with our company, comfort with our team, and most importantly, comfort in your home. As a trained comfort specialist, we adhere to the highest standards of customer service, training, and industry expertise. With a trained system from AirQuip, you'll get the best products, honest prices, and service that's unparalleled. We are your home comfort specialists. Find out more at airquipheating.com.
AirQuip Heating and Air. Hey, become a member of the National Warplane Museum in Geneseo. Get member benefits, including entry into our air show. Memberships make great gifts for warplane enthusiasts. Details at nationalwarplanemuseum.com.
Are you holiday shopping for the horse lover in your life? Patchwork Saddlery has gift certificates and stocking stuffers. Put your money where your heart is. Shop locally at Patchwork Saddlery, East Main Street, Avon, next to Tompkins Community Bank.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
Yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio. WYSL, Rochester, New York, 585-346-3000 is the number. And I've been talking about trying to hire people. And I want people to be hired. I want people to have cool jobs. But I want them in the right jobs that make both them happy and the employer happy. And many of you listening have had that happen before. And not. Both. I would like more people to be spending more time in the right jobs. And this is not helpful. This is shoving people in jobs, forcing them in jobs, and punishing employers, which is just going to make more entrepreneurs leave New York State and maybe even leave the country, right? I mean, I think about New York State and what has made New York State amazing, right? It's been finance, farming, and innovation. Those are the three things. We still have finance, but it is leaving us. There's no doubt. You see it walking away. It's going to Miami. It's going to Austin. It's going to San Francisco. It's leaving, but it is still here. Farms, we got them, but they're hurting and they're becoming all big business. Innovation, leaving like there's no tomorrow. And this is not helping. The things that have made New York State awesome are either gone or in the process of leaving. We have to pull them back, and this is not helping. We are focusing on things that are not helpful. And again, I get it. You want to do the right thing. You want to help people. Okay. You want to protect people. Okay. Where is the growth? Where is the growth? I just don't see it. Ed says, credit scores are another form of slavery. You know, they control a lot. There's some truth to that because they are based on monopolies. They decide whether or not you can have a car or have a house, or how much you're going to spend for it. So there's some truth to that, which is why when there are monopolies or things like that, I don't mind government stepping in. And some of my libertarian brothers get mad at me and go, never, it's free market. Well, it's not a free market though, Ed, to your point. It is government sponsored by laws like what's called the FCRA, which is the Fair Credit Reporting Act. They enshrine them. So when government makes a monopoly, government can break it. I don't have a problem with that at all. I think you have a very valid point. A very valid point. Buddha Black, how are you, sir? He says, keeping wages cheaper for the utilities, construction, hospitality, and entertainment companies, so they have to hire people who live within 5 miles of the facilities because they stereotype people. I'm not sure where you're going with that. I don't mind if people work within 5 miles of their home. I think that's amazing. I hope you can. I wish we could all walk to work. That would be awesome. I'm not sure that's realistic. Keeping wages cheaper is only good if the cost of living is cheaper. And our cost of living, Buddha, is horrible. I don't mind if wages are low if the cost of living is low. But I think there's no one listening, you also, I'm sure, are not going to tell me the cost of living is low. The cost of living is really high. Mike says, you are defining inefficient government that creates more problems as time passes. Yes, and that's the issue, which is why we shouldn't be doing things just because the intent is good, but we should recognize the intent. Many of these bills and laws that we pass, the intent's terrible. It's just greed or just pain. I think this one did have the right intent, but to your point, as time passed, it's failing. He goes on to say, and then that spreads to small business and hurts the economy. Thus, the poor suffer. See, Mike here brings up a very important point, which a lot of people don't get. For most people in America who are not wealthy, there are only 3 ways to success: entrepreneurship, apprenticeship, education. Those are the 3 ways you get out of your problem. In New York State specifically, but across the country, literally South Park did a joke on this. We have pushed away the trades like there's no tomorrow. And we wonder why we need all this foreign labor. Because Americans can't do anything because we've been telling our kids for 30 years, don't go into trades. Plumbing is bad. Carpentry's bad. Don't do it. That's for dumb kids. Well, I know those dumb kids, in air quotes, are all making some good money. I want to be a dumb kid. So yes, that's number 1. And number 2, our education system now is garbage, utter garbage. And then we're beating up entrepreneurs. We're crushing all the things that were the answer to people getting out of poverty. Michael, you are right. We're destroying all of them. Those are the 3 ways that most people get out of it. And we've crushed it. And if you do get a decent education, you're $100,000 in debt. Maybe I'm exaggerating, 50,000, whatever. You're in debt. All of it has been hurt. So yes. Sam says, as someone who is balding, I honestly appreciate the hairstyle one, but I could never prove it. I love it, right? If it's you, that's awesome. Hey, you should have hired me. Oh, I'm balding. It was hairstyle. Prove it wasn't because I'm balding. I love that. For those of you who are watching me, I don't have much hair myself. So maybe that's the case. I like that idea. So Mike, very active today. He says it's impossible to disprove a negative, especially as the list of protected groups is never ending. Just proof the equity only divides and never unifies or improves. I cannot agree with you more on this, Mike. The idea of creating more and more protected groups does not make things better because all of them will use the law to punish the other. So then everybody wants to be protected. And if you're not protected, well, then what are you doing? So you're obviously privileged. So now I don't want to be privileged. I got to find a new protected group, right? So I don't know. My group is people named Larry. That's my protected group. Prove to me you didn't hire me because my name is Larry, right? So I think it's a valid point, and it does divide us, and it actually doesn't improve. What does improve, and this is clear, and the data is in, is us voluntarily integrating. The more we integrate and meet people who aren't like us, whether that is by race or creed or ethnic background or religion or height or weight, doesn't matter. The more we integrate voluntarily with people who are not like us, the more we respect people who are not like us. That's how it works. That's across the world. That's all human beings. It does not matter who you are. That's every country. It does not matter. Patty says, my friend went to an interview, all buttoned up, very presentable. Got the job, working behind the scenes in a vet hospital. Showed her tattoos, arms on a hot day. She was told she wouldn't have been hired if they saw the tats, but was great with the animals, and they kept her. Look at that. That's, that was smart for your friend to do that. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I mean, I don't think you should be judging people because they have tattoos. That seems kind of a silly reason to hire somebody or to fire somebody or to not have it. Unless for some reason the tats would matter for some reason. I don't think the animals care about the tats, right? They care. Would the tattoos scare off customers? Look, to be forward, I actually don't have a problem with a company being afraid and not hiring somebody for a specific reason. For again, exactly, let's say someone's an embezzler and they want to be your, chief financial officer. Maybe I don't want to hire that person, right, for that job. But the person wants to drive a truck or work in the warehouse. What do I care? What are you going to embezzle? The car? The truck? We'll find it. It's fine. But you embezzle money, well, I might not find out for years. You might be way gone in Mexico by then. So I do see that, but I don't know why that would bother them. But anyway, I get it. I see why they would be concerned, but either way. And now Mike is teasing me. Watch out, Larry. You're agreeing a lot with me today. I don't know, Mike. Maybe you're winning. I like the idea. Maybe you're winning. I want to move to the next piece, though, which I didn't bring up. But this entire environment is an environment that says you, as the employer, or worse, as the landlord or as the business owner, it is your responsibility to accommodate for the protected classes. Let me say it again. It is your responsibility to accommodate for protected classes. So what happens when you hire someone who is a Muslim? Oh, I went down a bad road there. Who is pregnant? Do I now have to provide a separate room in my facility for the pregnant woman to breastfeed? Am I required to have a separate room for the practicing Muslim to pray multiple times a day? Am I required to? My argument is laws like this are a yes. If it's a yes, what choices am I going to make, even unconsciously? 585-346-3000. Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Back with your calls and more of your chat. I see you after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances.
All right, we have a caller, Roger.
Are on the line. Call the experts.
You're welcome.
At Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, a locally owned and operated gun shop here for your hunting needs. With changes in New York state laws, they'll work with you to fulfill your needs. Open from 10 a.m. Tuesday through Saturday, Avon Gun, East Main Street, next to Tompkins Community Bank.
The Stars and Stripes flag store is open again. Shop at 783 South Avenue Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 1 to 5. All American-made flags, many different types, apparel, drinkware, ornaments, and more. Honor our heroes. Shop Stars and Stripes flag store open again just in time for Christmas.
In 1926, the Avon Fire Department put an Aaron's Fox pumper into service. It now sits fully restored in a museum near Toronto. Avon has an opportunity to bring the Fox home for its 100th birthday for a fraction of its appraised value. The Aaron's Fox Full Circle Preservation Society needs your help. Look us up on Facebook or call 615-6463. Let's bring home the Fox.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
It is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I have been talking about small business, hiring, firing, employees, 1099s, contractors, all the things, and people who have to accommodate and who will be punished by all of these laws. Let me grab a call if I could. I want to grab Roger. Roger, how are you, sir?
Good. How you doing?
What's going on?
Good. You forgot to mention a what do you call it? A job, because you was talking about certain jobs that you need to check security and stuff. Check background
checks,
credit, whatever. You forgot security.
Oh yes, that's true. Absolutely.
Yeah. But
so
you talked.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. You talked about So here's the thing, because you talked about integrating communities.
Yep.
If you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to incentivize them to do so.
Yes.
By one of the things is stop making it where when black people move into your neighborhood, the property value go down. They rig it like that. Okay? So all that does is encourage discrimination. Okay?
It's true.
Make it to where the more diverse it is, the bigger the incentives. Then
I like
it'll
that.
be
So
like, yeah. You know what I mean? Hey, come
so
on. Let's go,
there
whatever.
is a way that it kind of worked in Singapore and a little bit in London. And what they did was they changed public housing, and they made big chunks of public housing to where it was rent to own, so that now the people who are in public housing began to own their own homes. And so there were some people who were mad at that and said, well, wait a minute, some of the people who are in public housing are also on public assistance. So now we're paying for them to own a home. And the argument was, well, you can pay their rent for their entire life, or you can help them get some equity in their house so they can get off of public assistance and then get a regular job so they could own the house. And then gentrification is not a thing. Gentrification sucks when you're a renter. It doesn't suck when you're an owner. All the property value goes up, whether you're black or white, Hispanic, whether you're an immigrant, whether you're native born, doesn't really matter in that case. So I think one way of doing that would be to change how public housing is taken care of. Because the second piece is, now if public housing becomes ownership housing, there's not as much NIMBYism. There's not as much, I don't want public housing in my neighborhood. You don't mind because now owners are coming in versus renters. Does that make sense?
Right, yeah. And people will take pride in their community and making sure things are, picking garbage up off the ground, things of that nature, because they have ownership in it. Oh yeah, of course. I definitely agree with that.
Yes.
When are you going to have your public banking panel?
No. I have been swamped with many things, but I will be working on that. I promise. I will be working on that 100%. And again, one of the reasons why I like the public banking piece you bring up all the time is it helps to support small businesses. And I am all about localized small businesses. I really want more of that. So thank you for the call, my friend. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
So Mike is teasing me. He says, London is a wreck. Lack of true diversity, enclaves of communities that are not British, and that affects property values, not race per se. I do think there have been some failures in the London model. That's true. But there were also some successes too. They were both. And they also gave up on it. Singapore stayed with it. However, the problem with Singapore is it's a police state. So they just decide whatever they want. So I think we can find a combination of the London and Singapore model to find the right answer. I think there is a right answer, but I agree with you. Singapore worked easier because when you're a police state, people do what you say because you're a police state. But London, I think, abandoned it, and it didn't work out the way it should have. But I think lessons were learned. Your point's a valid one, though, Mike. Valerie says, putting skin in the game makes people more responsible. Hi, Larry. Yes, right? And one of the things is, if you have a nice neighborhood and the government wants to put in public housing, the first thing you do is go to your congressman, go to your city councilman, go to your mayor and yell and scream, saying, I can get money. No. And this is Roger's point, because you know that when you put public housing in, your property value goes down. But if public housing was full of owners, property value wouldn't go down as much. It might even begin to go up because you might get gentrification, because you have a nice neighborhood, right? Because you're a good neighborhood. You put public housing in a good neighborhood, you have owners in there instead. They have skin in the game. They want to have a nice neighborhood too, right? So maybe the property value even goes up because people love the idea, I think to Roger's point, of a diverse neighborhood. They like the idea of a diverse neighborhood when it comes to skin color. But to Michael's point, not always, it isn't always a race issue. It's a culture issue they're worried about. Most people are worried about cultural differences, not skin color issues. That's the least of their worry, right? So generally speaking, if people all want the same thing, meaning we all want a good neighborhood, the average American, and don't get me wrong, there are racists in America, of course. All I'm saying is the average American doesn't care what color his neighbor is, as long as his neighbor wants to have a good community just like he or she does. Yeah, he's like, whatever, okay, he's not the same color as me. That's fine. They want their kids to go to school. They want to go to school just like I do. They want a nice neighborhood like I do. They may or may not go to the same church that I go to. It's fine. Whatever. They'll want the same thing. I think most Americans would fall directly into that, as I see it. I mean, if you think I'm wrong, I'm happy to hear an argument against it. But I think that really is, I really think that is the answer. So thank you for that, Valerie. I do appreciate that. But I want to fall back to the accommodation piece. Because some of these things like hairstyle, height, well, not height, hairstyle, weight, these things are relatively easily changeable. So really tough to change my race, tough to change my height, right? Tough to change that. But the other things are very changeable. So now I bring you into my basement home that is, I hope, legal, maybe not. But anyway, that's the place for you to stay. It's rent. It's good rent. You're there. And now you change your hairstyle, or now you gain weight. And you also decide to not pay your rent or to be a terrible renter. You start breaking things or whatever. So I want to get rid of you. You're going to say, it's because of my hairstyle or because of my weight. Now I'm scared. Or something else. When you came into this place, it had a stairwell and whatever it had. Well, now you gain weight. You can't handle that stairwell anymore. I have to put an elevator or an escalator or a lift or something, or I'm getting sued. I hope I'm wrong with all of this. I hope 2 years from now, Mike calls me up and goes, damn, Larry, we were wrong. I hope we're wrong, Mike. I do. I hope we're wrong. I don't think we're wrong. I don't think we're wrong at all. Let me grab Dave. Dave says, that's true, Larry. Most wealthy white conservatives wouldn't have a problem with Clarence Thomas living in their neighborhood. Yes, but you don't have to be Clarence Thomas, though. But yes, that's true, right? And I think your point's a valid one. Many white conservatives would see Clarence Thomas as one of them, basically. I think you're right. I don't think we have to see, as humans, the guy or gal next to me as exactly as me. What we are worried or fearful of is the guy next to me is the opposite of me, is against me, hates me, something like that, right? That is what I think is our biggest worry, right? Of course, we want the person next to me to be just like me, the same religion, the same everything, right? But I think just not my enemy. It'll be pretty fine. I think it'll be okay. So, guys, I want to say thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I'll be back again next week, and I'm on my show tonight at 7 p.m. if you want to see me tonight, and also Thursday. I will see you all very soon.